Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Greatly Grant channel. In this channel, we are talking about the UAAG grant updates and information, and also we are also going to be updating you on the Theobarth and IMF and other grant informations. If you are new on this channel, consider subscribing so that when next we publish our next video, you will be kindly notified. Thank you once again for having me on Greatly channel. Bye for now.
In the last session, we informed you that disbursement will be happening between Tuesday and Wednesday in the new week, and disbursement did not come as anticipated. The repeated occurrences of adjournment of disbursement every time it is scheduled to happen. However, I'm here to assure you to still keep on holding on, because the failure of disbursement to happen on Wednesday as anticipated and Thursday doesn't imply it's not going to happen again. As usual, as future going people, future thinking people we are always ready to understand why it failed to occur and the arrangement towards it occurring in the days ahead. That is why we are here to inform you some of those salient reasons or feedback gathered from grant stakeholders why disbursement did not occur in Tuesday and Wednesday, and when it is going to occur. And again, in this session, we will address other issues bordering around the fate of those grant subscribers who fill the Google form, as well as the NGO who appeared at Abuja for screening and verification for the UAAG grant. We will equally address the arrangement made towards those who applied for the Pioneer, the CBN slots, the fate of those CEOs or company holders who applied for the government NGO as is circulated ahead of disbursement. Let's quickly address the first concern of this session, which is why disbursement did not occur on Tuesday and Wednesday as was anticipated. We were briefed by grant stakeholders that the government of the country has taken absolute control of the entire grant activity. In which ways? Government wants the disbursement of this grant to bear the signature of the party of the day, which is the APC government. Yes, and there is two parts to this grant, which is the cash disbursement and the project. The aspect of cash disbursement is the one where the CEOs went to Abuja for verification exercise. That aspect, even though you as a cooperative profile your cooperative to receive the fund, it must bear the narration that this fund is provided by the APC-led federal government of Nigeria. Therefore, most of the key stakeholders that are handling this aspect of cash disbursement are requested to profile themselves in the party, in the APC government, in a certain cadre of membership in the APC government. Therefore, all the glory of the fund that will be disbursed to will be under the credit of the APC-led government of the day. The same thing happens with the project part of the grants. Recall, there's the part of the grants that will focus on providing instruments, tools, equipment to entrepreneurs, traders, agriculturists, artisans in the country. The stakeholders are profiling themselves to ensure the credit of this disbursement will go to the APC-led government. That is why disbursement did not take place on Tuesday and Wednesday as anticipated, and the activity is currently ongoing. Let's move straight to the second subject of this session, which is the fate of those CEOs or company holders who applied for the CBN category slots, the Pioneers, IMF fund, as well as government NGO. Currently, it is important for everyone in the grant ecosystem to realize that the government NGO, the CBN category slots, the Pioneers and the IMF fund has been hijacked by fraudsters and scammers. Know who you are paying your money to. Those activities, although they were real from the onset, has been currently hijacked. We have so many comments in this channel seeking to know if CBN slot is still real, because in the WhatsApps and the Telegram groups, so many people are still promoting or registering people into those activities. And my answer is simple: know who you are giving your money to. Those activities has been hijacked. Know who you are giving your money to, because most of the promoters of those activities are not genuine in origin. Then on the concern of who will receive funds first when disbursement commences, if it's going to be those CEOs that went to Abuja for screening and verification exercise, or it's going to be those that apply for the CBN category slot and the government NGO respectively, the answer is the fund in question has a logistic inclination and at the same time the cash disbursement to CEOs. The logistic part of the grant is the part that will be disbursed to those stakeholders that facilitated the entire disbursement activity as logistics. This implies the CBN slots that you have been hearing of, the government NGO, are those percentage of the logistics that will be disbursed to the stakeholders, and they will use those NGOs and the cooperative to receive them. This implies the logistic part of the grant will first be disbursed to the grant stakeholders before disbursing to the NGOs who went to Abuja. Therefore, those that are applied for government NGO and the CBN slots, the pioneers as they always call it, all amounting to government NGO or the stakeholders percentage or the stakeholders fund. Those that fall under stakeholders will receive the fund first before the NGO CEOs who went to Abuja for verification exercise. I think this has addressed the concern of those who sought to know who will receive the fund first if disbursement commences today. So the stakeholders will first receive from the Apex bank account and disburse to those pioneers and the government NGOs before they focus on the CEOs that went to Abuja for verification exercise. That aspect comes in trenches. Not everyone receives at the same time, but fund will be disbursed to all grant stakeholders at the same time. Name them: AGPGN, the UAAG, St. Rita, Supreme. I recall one of the subscribers of this channel expressed concern on if Theobarth will disburse these grants to the masses or not. And as I've earlier stated in the previous session, the issue of if Theobarth will disburse or not is still under scrutiny owing to his previous antecedents. As such, we can actually assure you that Theobarth will receive this fund from the government and disburse to the masses. And what we can assure you is, even if Theobarth Global Foundation is not approved to receive the fund too, his subscribers will be profiled along the major Apex NGO that will equally receive disbursement too. So if you are a Theobarth subscriber or NGO under Theobarth, be rest assured that the disqualification of Theobarth, if they will disqualify him, will not imply disqualification of your NGO, because I'm aware that arrangement is currently ongoing for certain grant handlers to provide the full list of or the schedule of NGOs who register under them to some Apex NGO to disburse to them. There should be no cause for fear at all. Then, on the concern of some NGOs who are troubled if their NGO will receive this fund if disbursement begins today. Yes, some times ago, we were told that UAAG will not receive the fund, while UAAG probably believe AGPGN will not receive the fund. Some believe Supreme will not receive the fund for disbursement. All this are troubling the hearts of some CEOs. What you should know at this aspect as an NGO CEO who submitted or registered your organization for this grant is that everyone has been accommodated under one particular schedule for disbursement. Whether you come from the AGPGN, the UAAG, Supreme, and all other grant organizations, these grant handlers were summoned to an enlarged stakeholders meeting, the meeting that sees the attendance of almost all the grant handlers in the country, including Telpecon. They were there in the meeting, and their schedule were requested by the disbursement committee, and they submitted everything to this committee. This invariably implies if disbursement commences, you will definitely receive alerts. The government is already aware of the plight of some certain organizations who profile themselves for grants in this country since 2014 till 2024. And they will address this squarely. So don't trouble your heart. Your NGO will receive alert when disbursement commences. There's a concern again on if those that fill the Google form, this concerns the subscribers online, will receive disbursement. The simple answer to this is that if the NGO that provided the Google form for you to fill on the internet took those data seriously, you will definitely receive alerts. And one reason why a CEO or an organization will provide Google form online is because they don't have a beneficiary or subscriber base. And for them to qualify for this grant, to receive the fund to disburse, they have to provide a full template of 1,000 beneficiaries to the grant handler to qualify them to receiving this fund. That implies the same data that they collected online, submitted to the grant handler, will be the same data that the grant handler expects to see fund being dispensed to. There are all conditions that are enshrined in the MOU that will be revealed to all the NGO CEOs. Don't trouble yourself if you are a subscriber that fill the Google form. It implies the NGOs who provided them submitted them for disbursement, so you will receive your alert accordingly. On the concern of if there is increment in the entitlement of beneficiaries of the AGPGN, just as the beneficiaries of UAAG entitlements are being increased. Yes, in the last session, we informed you that the beneficiary entitlement for subscribers of the UAAG grant and some other grants have been raised up from 3 million naira to 10 million naira. That still stands according to that information source. For the AGPGN, we always tell you that AGPGN is a palliative sort of fund, not the grant. Palliative in the sketch of 50,000 to 300,000 naira. But there are information sources holding that the entitlement of beneficiaries of the AGPGN grant might be raised to 500,000 naira. On the concern of if EFCC will allow beneficiaries that receive 10 million naira in their accounts to access and utilize the fund, the answer is this is not a stolen money. It is grant meant for the masses, and the alert that comes to the beneficiary account comes with a narration of the grant handler, which I suppose will be FGN and the name of the organizations that is used in dispensing the fund. Therefore, no bank will freeze your account and no EFCC will come after any beneficiaries that receive 10 million naira from a registered and renowned grant organization recognized by the federal government. The grant will come with a narration to your bank, and the narration is already known by existing government regulatory agencies or crime-fighting organizations. And finally, the concern of when disbursement is going to eventually take place, since it failed to happen on the 5th to 7th of March 2025. Going by the picture we painted in the first chapters of this video, that government wants this grant to be the narration of the current party and the government of the day, the APC government. Currently, they are profiling of the grant stakeholders and the grant handlers. It is expected that you might have heard in the grant ecosystem that disbursement is supposed to start on the 5th or the 10th, following the stakeholders meeting that was convened a few days ago. And the truth is that disbursement is not within the sketch of 5th and 10th. What I will advise is expect disbursement between now and the 15th or 20th of March 2025. Give yourself between now and the 15th or 20th of March 2025, going by the profiling and when this profiling will be eventually completed by the committee. after the profiling of these grant handlers and the stakeholders, disbursement will commence. However, in between this period, we are informed that there's going to be a highly classified meeting between the government committee and the grant handlers. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, subscribe immediately and turn on the notification bell. Hence, when we publish this update of the next meeting, you will be immediately notified. Before we go, be rest assured that there is fund to be disbursed. No individual will use the name of the federal government of Nigeria in vain without government questioning it or calling for the arrest of these individuals. The IMF and the World Bank and all these organizations have people that are manning them. Therefore, individuals choosing to use this name for criminality will immediately be apprehended. So if these individuals are using this name without being questioned or called to order by the federal government, be rest assured that there is fund to be disbursed, and it will definitely be disbursed to everyone that genuinely applied for the grant in the grant ecosystem. Be rest assured that disbursement is going to overtake this ecosystem by surprise. We trust it's going to happen. That is why we are still here. And any moment we have signals that anything has changed, we will inform you accordingly. At the moment, disbursement is going to happen before the 15th or 20th of March 2025.